Hey guys, Nigel Dix here. So I'm back. I'm here in Huntington Beach. I'm in my garage, my best place in the world, my favorite place in the world. And for all those of you that don't know who I am, my name is Nigel Dix. I'm the ATM guy. I've been here for 23 years. I own ATMs, I process ATMs, I fix them, I consult for different people and so on, and I'll give you free advice and free tips and tricks on how to stay out of trouble, keep yourself profitable. Basically, I'm looking to help entrepreneurs make money, not lose money. My company name is Offline to Online. My website is Next Day ATM. I've teamed up with a company with a much bigger program than me, so you can go to their website and you can always call me anytime you want, guys. Okay, so let's take a look. Alright, because you don't need to see my pretty face in this video, but you'll see me, I am going to show you a few tools you're going to need to fix your machine or install your machine, and you don't need a lot of tools. Alright, first off, some essentials that you're going to need in the ATM business. In the business, you're going to have to carry a spare cord. Now, this is a cord here from my router, and so you want to keep a spare set. A router is what the ATM is going to use to communicate with. Now this one here is an older router because it has the phone line adapter and the Ethernet. Ethernet is fast, the phone line is slow. Now this is an older box which is getting returned back. You can see it says send back, out of contract. Now if you've got a box this old, you can either renegotiate to get a cheaper price or send it back and get a new one. This one is a little bit newer. This one here has just the Ethernet cord and so on, and it has two antennas on the back. This one here is just a different model. This one here is a Systec. This one is OptConnect. These boxes are all the same. They're all made by Systec, just certain companies put their different names on them. Now I do recommend you go through OptConnect. OptConnect gives you a lot better service, although they do charge a little more. This one might cost you, say, 15 bucks a month, 17 bucks. This one might cost you 20, 22 bucks a month. Same box, however, when it comes down to getting service, you have a problem with or an update you need, OptConnect is going to give you a much better level of service. And so you've got three different kinds here, three different boxes. Oh, this one here you see has two Ethernet cords. Not sure why you can't run two machines off one machine in one box. Like I said, if you're going to run your machines off of wireless, you are going to need a spare cord and a spare box and a spare cord. Actually, maybe a couple of these laying around. I'll show you why shortly. So I had one recently where this had died, so I was able to replace it because I had it in my car. I would recommend you have a couple of spare antennas. The antennas are very important because, you know, people like to cut them, break them, snap them off and so on, and you can put you out of commission. Because, you know, and you do need two antennas for these boxes. Now, very important, keep a spare Ethernet cord with you at all times. But just in case your Ethernet cord gets damaged or broken, keep an Ethernet cord available in your car for spare at all times. That way, if the machine is having a problem and you're not sure if it's the machine or the router, you can then take your spare setup and plug it into the machine and test it and find out if it's your machine or if it's your router real quickly. Because I've been there all day on a machine and figured out at the end it was a dead router or a dead cord or a bad Ethernet cord. Now, something else you'll need, just in case, is an electric screw gun. I recommend this one here, the little Ryobi. It's push and pull like this. It's a magnetic tip. Push that in there, plug it, and so on. It's just a very basic little one here. It's rechargeable. The charge goes forever. I love this little thing. Very basic. It does have a ratchet here. So if you're dealing with something very lightweight on the screw going into plastic, you want to turn it down to a 2 or a 3. If you're doing something a lot tougher, then go up to a 10 or up to a drill piece. Very nice little drill. This one's about out of charge, but I haven't charged it for months. Make sure you've got a flashlight at all times available. You never know when you're going to go into a bar or a darker location or inside the machine you can't see properly. You never know when you're going to need it at night time. Three types of screwdriver you want: a regular Phillips, a small Phillips, and a small straight head screwdriver. Those are the three main screwdrivers you need. This here, you're going to need two size wrenches. I'm using a Craftsman here. Now you can obviously use an adjustable wrench, but it's going to take you a lot longer. But if you can't afford a little wrench like this, go ahead. depending on what site you're going to be installing, you're going to need possibly two well, I carry two because of this. If I'm taking the bolts out of an old ATM, they may have used 3/4 inch 5/8 bolts with a 3/4 inch wrench, but I always use 9/16, which is a 3/8 bolt. I don't go overkill on the bolt size. First of all, I'm not going to spend the extra money. It doesn't do much good. However, I may need to take someone's old bolts out to put the new machine in, and so therefore I carry these deep sockets because they want to go all. Because sometimes people they'll do this. They will put the bolt in the floor, and they'll bolt it all the way down. But by the time the wrench pulls up, you've got this much sticking out the floor. I like to try and get my bolts where they're no more sticking out than say that. You know, but if you've got someone who didn't know how to install it or didn't know how to drill deep enough, and this here is a 3.5 inch 3/8, and that's as big as you need. The concrete block you're drilling into is, like below me on my feet, is usually no bigger than 2 to 2.5 inches thick anyway. So if you've got a 5-inch bolt, all you've got is this much sticking out the floor. You don't need that. One thing, obviously you've got the regular size washer because the bolt. What I always do is this, to give it more coverage, I'll take a bigger washer, put it on like this, and that way it gives it more, if someone tries to pull it out the ground, it gives it more space, more coverage to stop it pulling out the floor. I also may do this, I may put two of these on top like this, in other words giving it more to pull against instead of just one, one nut. And then you just tighten them both down. That I like. Something else you might want to keep are some zip ties. Different size zip ties in a little baggie. You don't need too many of them, but occasionally you'll need to clear up the wiring in the bottom. You don't want wiring all over the place just piled up in a big pile. So you might want to just tie them up and then zip them nicely. So very handy to have. Now, something I like to put on my ATMs is this stick-on thing here. You can see that is just one of my cards. I can put my business cards in here. I stick it on the side of the ATM. People then can help themselves to a business card. It's a company called cardcaddy.com, and you can put these anywhere you want. Now, something I've got here is the same thing, Card Caddy, right here. You can see my name on it and my number right here. You can see that, right? Nigel Dix. It just has an email address and a phone number on it. It says business cards here. Well, this piece of plastic on the back from Card Caddy sticks on, and you put this in the window of your car, and so I'll stick it in the window when I leave. I take it out when I get back in because otherwise the wind blows and it makes a noise. And I'll leave this on my car, and so someone can take a business card. The other thing that I like to take with me, if you can afford it, is a small 1-gallon vacuum cleaner. It just makes it a lot easier when you're cleaning up after your mess from drilling the holes in the machine. Now, let's show you one of the tools you may need is a grinder. Now, I use the Milwaukee. I've had it for years. It's a great little thing. See the zip tie here? I just clean up my wiring. I just kind of zip it tight to stop it going all over the place. The disc you're going to need is just a thin disc. And the reason being, if you're taking out old bolts from somebody else's old machine, but you're replacing the machine, you may have to cut their bolts off because they've rusted. And you may have to cut them close to the floor. You can use any grinder really, but you just need a thin disc, and have 2 or 3 discs spare available. Keep those on hand because they don't last long when you're drilling, so keep a couple of those on hand. Now, something else important to keep in your car if you're going to do an installation, always have a multi-plug. Make sure you've got one with a light on it. They're only about $5 from Home Depot. The other thing is, make sure the plug is a flat plug like this. You do not want one going straight into the wall because it sticks out. You want one that goes into the wall flat so the machine backs up to it. Another thing you want is an extension cord because you never know where the power is going to be. This one here is just a cheap one. It's a 25-foot cord. You may want a longer cord as well sometimes. And it's just handy because you don't want to get behind the refrigerator trying to plug all your drilling, your vacuum in and everything else at the same time as the ATM. Just a must-have. And as you can see, I've got another spare cord here. Now, why do you want this spare cord besides the router? Because this cord here, let's say your lock on your ATM died and you can't get into it. Or maybe you've walked into a store and found an abandoned ATM. Well, this you can plug right into the top of the ATM, plug it in, and get power. Maybe you don't have access to the vault where the power is. Well, this is going to bypass all that in a very simple, quick way so that you don't have to try and get into the ATM. Okay, so one thing you need also is a hammer, a good lightweight hammer here, just a claw hammer, nothing special. Absolute a must. I almost forgot that for you. Now let me show you the bolts real quick. 3/8 and 3/4 inch. This one I just bought as a one pack, and because I was just installing one machine I needed 3 bolts, I didn't want to buy a whole box. They are more expensive to buy them ones and twos at a time. If you buy a box of 50, you'll pay $23. If you buy them each, you'll pay about $1.80 per each one of these. So if you're only doing one machine, just buy them as you need them. If you're going to do more and you do service for somebody else, make sure you buy a box of 50 or a box of 25. It's a lot cheaper. Okay guys, so now if you're going to do this, if you're going to do your own installation, this is a Bosch hammer drill, and you can see that this is a Bulldog 11234 a VSR. It's a medium-sized drill, maybe a small drill, and this drill has lasted me for probably 10 and 15 years so far, and I haven't had to replace it. I had a Milwaukee before this and it was just horrible. This drill here is so powerful as a hammer drill. I simply hold it down, I don't put any weight on it, and the drill goes in the ground on its own. If you're going to use the basic 3/8, 3 1/4 bolts, you're going to need a 3/8 drill bit. This one here, just pull it back and it clips in. So you hear that? It's in. It's done. These drill bits, you can see it's starting to look at some burn on it. This drill bit I've had for several years now and it's never been replaced. And then I just pull this back and pull it out. The one that I like most though is what I just recently found, and you can see the difference here. One is a star head and the other is just a flat head. I prefer this one with the star head. It's a little bit more expensive, but it does a much better job because it's got twice the drill power. This one here is a half inch. That's for the half-inch bolt, and then there's a 5/8 I have as well, which I generally don't carry a 5/8 bit because I don't go any bigger than half-inch generally. But you can see them here, and these drill bits, although they're more expensive, they last a long time. I love these drill bits, and you can see they just kind of push in. There's one bigger than this. You don't need it. And also I'll show you on the machine why you don't want it as well. Okay, so this is my drill set here. You can see I carry the hammer, the wrench, a screwdriver, and the drill with 4 different bits just in case I lose one. And that's all I carry with this snippers as well, the wire cutters. That is what I carry around if I'm just going to install. Very simple. Alright, so that's the tools I use, guys. That's real simple there. And again, don't be intimidated because you can always call me. I'll walk you through how to do the details of these installs and fixing them. Like I say, a little advertising never went amiss. Just stick this straight on the side of your ATM right here and let people take a card. Maybe you'd put a sign up, free ATM for your location, or whatever you want to put on there. Okay, let's take a look, and we're going now to go look inside the ATM. Okay, now this ATM here is an older ATM. It's a Hyosung 1800. It was a great machine. This one was upgraded until I took parts of it because I was using them somewhere else. The key to the outside here, this key here, is a generic key for all machines. So this one I've obviously taken the lock off right now, but normally it has a spin dial or an electric lock. Alright, the reason you want the zip ties, when you've got these little zip ties here, you're going to come along after you've unwound all the wires and you're going to have this mess on your hands right here. So you don't want to leave this as a mess in the bottom of the machine. Now this cord here is the phone line, of course. We no longer use phone lines if we can help it on any ATM. So if you can, do not use their phone line. It will cost you money because the phone lines are too slow and there's too much information going over the lines anymore. The phone line itself, you can pretty much take it out and throw it away, so you don't have to worry about it. The Ethernet cord here, if you use it, normally speaking, the wireless box here would just, this would just plug into the wireless box and you leave it in the bottom like this. But again, you don't want to leave your cord like this. So before you plug it in, wind up your cord and zip tie it nicely so that you've got plenty of space to do what you need to do. Okay, so a simple little zip tie like that keeps it clean and keeps it out of the way. Again, your power cord. Now remember I said you're going to need one of these. Now on this one here, if it's too big to push through the hole in the back of the ATM, you're going to have to shave the corners off so you can just push it through. Okay, I'm going to have to shave off these corners a little bit to get it through. That then would sit in the bottom here like this once I plug it in. Now this cord here, before I do anything, I'm going to wrap this up as well. The bottom of the ATM is going to be mostly for storage, so you're not going to keep much down there except maybe some paper. So I'm going to tie this up with a bigger zippy here. There you go, that's nice and clean. That then would just plug into there like that. You turn it on. Remember, if you've got your wireless box, you've got more wiring. So this wireless thing plugs into here like this. This end right here is going to plug into the box. That's plugged in. Again, plug that into here so you've got plenty of space. The wiring is all nice and cleaned up. Now the antenna here, you're going to have two of these. Now make sure these don't get loose, because they do get loose and you won't get the full signal. It's just the antenna itself. What I want you to do with this is, very often, because it's in the bottom of the ATM, it won't get enough strong enough signal if this stays in the bottom. So I want you to feed this wire up through the ATM into the top of the ATM, and then just plug it in. Either feed it through the whole machine and put it on top of the ATM out the way, or just leave it inside the top of the ATM where the paper and the power supply is, and then just run the cable down and just plug it in. Now one of these is the main connection right here. The other one is a backup, which is just to give it a little more strength. You do need two antennas, and then that just kind of magnetizes and sticks where it needs to stick. And then that would light up and you'd have the Ethernet tire plugged into it. And that's really all there is to a wireless box. A wireless box is simply a telephone communication for the ATM, like a cell phone. I'm kind of getting ahead of you here. Now, the reason you don't want the big drill, if you can help it. Alright guys, so you've got now two choices. Before you put all this in the bottom, you're going to have to either place the ATM in the correct position. Make sure you've got at least 2 or 3 inches behind the ATM and to the side of it, because when you're cleaning it, you want to be able to get behind it to clean it. If someone, don't try and tip it up against the wall, even if you've got the room to do that, even flush, because things will fall down the back of it, like a credit card, someone's money, whatever it is. You do not want to uninstall the ATM to get back their product or their item, whatever they've lost behind there. And plus, if you can't clean around it, it's going to start making a real mess. So don't do that. So leave some space to the side, leave some space behind it, and allow room, so on. Now, you see this space here. It's very, very small, and you can't get the drill in. However, you have two choices here. One, you can simply pull this out. There's a little screw under here. Under here there's a little screw. It's a finger tight screw. It doesn't come all the way out, it just pops. Slide this out like this. You can also, if you wanted to, take this out, and you can just put your arm behind it, put the drill in, and then bolt down. A better way to do it though is this. Mark the bolts right here like this with a marker pen, all 4 where you want it. Move the machine out, drill the holes, vacuum up the mess, and put the machine back where it needs to go. That's the easiest way to go. This drill is so powerful, you don't put any pressure on it. You're just going to simply put your hand on it. You are not going to put any pressure on it whatsoever. You are simply going to pull the trigger and let it ride. It will push into the concrete as simple as butter. And these new tips, like I told you, they are amazing and they're sharp. If you hit any resistance whatsoever, do not try and push through it like I did. I one day was in a pizza shop and I thought, why isn't it going down? And I kept on pushing. I pushed and pushed. I went through a gas main. These tips are not meant to go through metal. If you put enough pressure, they will. So if you hear any resistance, maybe you're hitting some rebar, maybe you're hitting a pipe, move the ATM over or just put less bolts in. Do not push through. If it doesn't go through on its own, it's not going to happen. Don't do it, because then they had to shut the whole building down. This was years ago, and that could have caused one massive explosion. So guys, please don't do that. Installing your own ATM is very, very simple. Why pay someone to do it when you can do it yourself? Learn this, do it. Just save the money, because you know an installation with programming can cost you $400. You know, $250 if you're lucky. So I normally charge $250 for local, $395 for further away, depending on where it is. And then once you're all drilled up, put the money thing back. Again, you're going to need to use the hammer to get in here, and because you only need, now you can always pull this out and kind of bang around, but oh, by the way, make sure when you're drilling, drill all the way in. Don't just drill a little bit, drill all the way deeper than you need to be. Put the bolt in as far as it will go, hammer it, put this nut on, and then when you tighten it, it's going to pull the nut up, pull the bolt up. If you ever have to move the ATM, you simply take the nut off, hit the bolt, it will go straight through the floor, leave it flush, and you can patch it, leaving no sign. But if you just put it too shallow and it can't go any further, then you're going to have to cut the bolt off, make a real mess, and you can always see the bolts. So don't do that. So you can always push these bolts of mine straight through the floor, and they're done. That's how simple that is. Now I cannot show you how to do the programming on this one here because it's been taken apart. However, if you wish to call me, I will walk you through the programming and how to do that for yourself. So, you know, learn the stuff, learn as much as you can about it. Don't try and pay out of pocket because you don't want to be out of business before you start. It's a good business, but you need to be your own tech. Also, if you're your own tech and you're doing your own stuff, it's going to get fixed a lot faster. You haven't got to wait for someone to turn up. You can just get down there, fix it. I don't care if you call me at 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. That's okay, because I'll walk you through it. However, I'll give you one warning, guys. If I tell you to push the red button, slide the green one, and squeeze the left, and you do it in another order, I do get pretty pissed off if you don't follow my instructions. So follow my instructions, I'll walk you through it, there's no charge for that, and I'll help you out. Alright guys, again, my name is Nigel Dix, 23-year veteran in the ATMs, and I help entrepreneurs like you to make money, not cost you money. My company name is Offline to Online, and that's my company where I teach you to go from traditional business like this to the online world. So, like they said, if you haven't got multiple streams of income these days, you haven't got an income. Most people go bankrupt or out of business in their 50s, but the good news is most millionaires become millionaires in their 50s because they have no choice. And that's kind of the way it is. So guys, if you're looking for your own business, please give me a call. Let's go. If you want to get in the ATM business, I'll teach you. If you want to go in the online world, I'll teach that too. So alright guys, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Always do your homework before you do any business. Alright guys, later.